Yeah, you know what? I'm not taking any of that as binding. That's what you say when you've been drinking a little bit and you get caught up in the moment. That is not an official announcement, as far as I'm concerned, that Aaron Donald is going to be back. That's just what you have to say in that moment. When the dust settles, he may have a different opinion altogether. That's how I interpret that. That is not by any means an official announcement that he'll be back.
Well, imagine if he'd said, like, nah, I think I'm done, guys. Like, what the crowd has done there. Like, oh my God, he's done. What is happening? Yeah, no, I don't think any of that is binding there at all. You know, it's just the way that things are going to work out. And it's especially when Sean McVay grabs the mic from JB Long as the voice of the Rams, and shout out to him for trying to keep order within all the chaos that was on that stage during that rally. I mean, if your head coach is screaming at you, run it back like that, and the crowd's screaming at, what are you supposed to say about that? But yeah, I think you're right. When the dust settles, things may change a little bit.
Now, Kevin Demoff, the Rams COO, said that Sean McVay will be back. I don't know that they've negotiated a new contract with him that quickly, or if Stan Kroenke just gave him a blank check. I don't know, but I really do think this curiosity was driven by the reality that McVay deserves more than whatever he's getting. I don't know the specifics because the best coaches, the highest paid coaches, get money from different buckets, so the official number is always lower than it really is to help them, frankly, help the oligarchs collude when it comes to the entry-level head coaching pay. You don't want the high end to be so high that it pushes up the bottom. But whatever it may be, McVay deserves more. And nothing wrong with being coy about your future if ESPN is going to come along and offer you almost as much as you're currently making to go work a hell of a lot less and strike that work-life balance a lot more easily than you otherwise would, especially since you're off from February until August if you are working for ESPN as a weekly game analyst. So we'll see how that plays out as well. We saw that Zach Taylor got his extension. We'll talk about that in a minute. We need to hear that Sean McVay is getting his extension before we know that it's done for him. And for Aaron Donald, I think it's going to linger. And one way to keep Aaron Donald around, Myles, I believe, is to give him a raise over the $18 million and change he's due to make over the next 3 years, all of which are non-guaranteed. And I don't think he wants to be traded, although one thing that is very real, Pittsburgh and L.A. are two different planets, frankly, and he's a Pittsburgh guy. Not that he's trying to get back to Pittsburgh or close to Pittsburgh. Maybe he'd like to play for the Browns. But it's just a long way away, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. You just got to ask yourself, at age 30, after 8 years of doing it, do you want to keep doing it to yourself? How much longer are you going to do it to yourself? And can you really motivate yourself to go climb the mountain you just spent 8 years trying to reach the pinnacle of?
The thing about Aaron Donald is that, he just only knows football. He knows how to work. He knows how to work out early in the mornings in order to get himself ready for those kinds of things. And, at age 30, I can see him in some ways starting to walk away from that and starting to think, okay, what is the rest of my life going to look like? Because I've been working up toward this since, I was a little chubby when I was, in middle school and it's getting into high school. And my father told me, hey, we're going to start working out every day. And we started working out in the basement. And, there's still those weights. And sometimes when he goes back to Pittsburgh, he still works out in the basement of his dad's house. It's like, that's what he's been doing practically his entire life, trying to work up for something like this. So now I really do feel like he's still got more to do. All right, he's already one of these guys that's a walk-in Hall of Famer, and I've been seeing you talk about it. Maybe he's one of those guys that should be kind of the only people that's in the Hall of Fame where it's just no doubt and there's no debate. It's just, yeah, this was one of the greatest to ever play the game, and he's in like that special section of it, whatever it is. He's already done that, right? But if he continues at the level he's at, and there's no reason to believe that he's not going to be at that kind of level, then he really could get into the conversation as the greatest defensive player of all time if he's not really in that conversation already. Because at this point, for me, and I know part of it's recency bias, but it's like there's him, there's Lawrence Taylor. And I would tell him to him, like, Aaron Donald's the greatest I've ever seen. So, he's already that. I don't know how much more there is left for him to accomplish, but if he wants to keep doing it, we know that he can go out and still dominate.
Well, and look, the reality is that he can continue to play at a high level. What else are you going to do if you don't? You're 30 years old. What's your next step if you walk away from the thing that you're so good at? But there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I think one of the very real factors is whether or not he's getting fairly compensated for what he's continuing to do. And we saw him unafraid to take a stand. He held out multiple times until he got the contract that he deserved, and it worked out for him. But now he's on the back end of a deal. It was front-loaded, but $18.5 million or thereabouts, not nearly close to what a guy like him should be getting, as he has the last few years of his prime. And I won't bet against a guy like that. He may figure out how to keep playing at that level late into his 30s, although Father Time is undefeated, and we've been spoiled by Tom Brady in recent years. For most guys, especially the ones that play the physically demanding positions, things start to come apart 32, 33, 34. So now's the time for him to grab what he can, especially if that effort, start the engine every year and do it again every year, it starts to wear on you after a while. So we'll see what he does.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.